Hanging on to the extreme eastern edge of continental North America, hidden by fog, lurks the island of Newfoundland. Once the workhorse of the British Empire, now the doormat of Canada. The huge task of changing from colonial jokester to modern industrial midget has exacted its cost on this carelessly hard-working people. Where once stood pine-clad hills, now stand brick buildings. Set off with imported sods. Wooden pegs hold the sods in place to the sheer rock face. Amazingly, this fun-loving mid-Atlantic breed survived. And from a genetic pool the size of a pudding bowl, a new breed was emerging, proud and shrewd, ready to greet the wave of astonished tourists from the rest of Canada and the United States. The tourist trade was born, and the hospitality hunt was on.
Okay now, recruits, that's just a bit of background information to get you in the mood. Now for the hard sell. As a special tool, the department is proud to present Marg's Guide to Historic Liquor Outlets in rural Newfoundland. Where to go, what to drink, and who to drink it with. Now, the first stop on your tour is Lancer Meadows. 500 miles from the nearest dirt road, this place is dripping in history. It's a 5-star liquor outlet and a perfectly reconstructed Viking village. Now, just between me, you, and the bedpost, they reconstructed an entire Viking village from a 10th century belt buckle. My God, the crowd at the university got some imagination. So, you're at Lancer Meadows. The rain is pouring down. The mud huts are turning to gurry muck and cram beneath your feet. What do? Keep him on the bus? Shoot him? Shoot yourself? No! You take him over to mud hut number 7. Surprise! It's a Canadian wine outlet. Now, you can pour on the baby duck, and when you got him pie-eyed, show him the belt buckles. All right, recruits. I want you to get out there. I want you to interface with those tourists. Dress up like a stick of gum. Take them out to supper. Sleep with them if you got to. But let's make this tourist harvest the most successful one yet. Thanks.
Hi, I'm not your friend, so I can tell you something your friends won't. You have bad breath. It's not your fault. Any food can cause bad breath, even the rectal tissue of a cow, or bologna, as you know it. So take Suppress and eat all the lips, nostrils, hooves, and 2% rodent hair you want, or hot dogs, as you know them.
look at me, Andre. I feel like a great big pig tonight. I'm right nervous, too. I can't keep nothing in my stomach, right? I just had to force down a double cheeseburger with the works before I came in here. That's the first thing I had since lunch, though. I'm going out with a guy named Dexter. Can you imagine saying, I love you, Dexter? He's an amazingly boring guy, too, right? What first attracted me to him was he looks like Dustin Hoffman, only shorter. He wears wallabies, too, right? I wouldn't mind that, right? But he wants to wear them while he's doing it. He's a sexual psychologist. He tries to make everybody feel good. When he goes to the market to buy a cucumber, he says, give me a cucumber. Size doesn't matter.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Sheesh.
Sheesh what?
She's Jerry.
Sheesh Jerry what?
Oh, nothing. Just, we're supposed to go bowling, right? And he's in there huff off like an oriental potentate.
Sure, go out and get him on the go, boy.
He won't friggin' budge, Nancy.
Oh.
He was eating strawberries and now he's lifting weights.
What?
I suppose that's what he's doing. He's lying in there with a big metal bar across his throat and red stuff coming out his mouth.
Oh, Fred.
Oh, what?
Was he lying on a little wooden bed without any mattress on it?
Yeah?
Was there a picture of a mouse on it?
Yeah?
Don't think he's going bowling.
Why not?
He's dead.
What's that?
Dead. You know, dead. He is no more like.
He's not no more like. I can see him in there, lying out in the open. Get in here.
Fred, take...
Balloon is coming. Oh, no. Oh, no, Balloon is sweeping him up in the broom. And he ain't even fighting back. I gotta help him now.
No, Daniel, that's Fred! Mr. Butcher, we seem to be having a bit of a problem with Frank.
What problem?
The problem seems to be he doesn't feel like he's loved at home.
Doesn't feel he's loved at home. I love him, Frank.
Now,
Come here.
Eustace, I was reading in People magazine that a lot of youngsters today don't feel like they're loved.
Well, might they feel unloved?
Yes, if only they were a little more lovable, they'd get a lot...
This is it, Mrs. Budgell. Love is a response to something. If there's nothing there, you cannot
And
respond.
let's face it, Frank was
I could never respond to Frank, no.
Let me see. Number 6. Kavanaugh.
Frank, come in here. What's all this about?
What?
What's all this about?
What's all what about?
Not being loved at home. Do you think we don't love you?
Did you tell him that?
I had to, honey. He is your father.
Frank,
told him that.
Frank, your mother here gave you the breath of life.
What did you tell him that for?
What are people gonna think of your mother, what? Think your mother doesn't love her own children? My God, think she's some kind of an old slaughter.
Oh, you told him that.
Don't kick your mother.
Oh, that should be the house there.
This is not a house of love. This is a house of hate.
What?
No, I'm checking out of here. I'm checking out of here today.
Yeah, I was thinking of checking out of here myself.
Well, remember, you're required to give 3 months prior notice, Miss Costello.
Yeah, well, consider yourself in a permanent state of 3 months' notice, okay?
Yeah, just make sure you pay your bills on the way out the door.
I knew you'd say that. Here, take all my money. Take it all.
Oh, my God, what's the use of that? A bit empty old cowhide.
You're not my parents. I'm adopted.
Oh, yeah, the old adoption routine.
Oh,
Someone at the door, Mrs. Budgell.
I know, Miss Costello. I have ears.
No, Mrs. Budgell, I've seen him.
I've made no attempt to hide them, Miss Costello.
Costello, Mrs. Budgell.
All right, certainly. Costello, Miss Costello. Yes?
Do you have an apartment for rent?
Yes, Mr.
Mackerel. Albert Mackerel.
Yes, Mr. Mackerel.
Mackerel, that's a sexy name.
I beg your pardon.
what?
Do we have an apartment for rent?
An apartment? Do we have an apartment for rent?
Yes, there was an ad in the paper this morning.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
terribly sorry. Is this the Kavanaugh household?
We haven't.
No, yes, no, the newspaper got that confused.
Yes.
We're Budgell.
Budgels?
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
God,
but
help me.
my mother was a Kavanaugh before she was married. Now, are you a dirty person, Mr. Mac?
Well, Mrs. Budgell, I've been living with my mother for 20 years in Brig Bay.
Is she dirty?
Well, she's dead, actually.
Well, now, Mr. Mackerel, I don't care if she's alive or dead. I don't want to interfere. All I know is I keep this place spotless. I go through the house twice a week with Javix and Dettol, and I boil the mattresses once a week. And the pillows.
Last 2 tenants died of filth.
Pay no attention to Miss Coslow. She's a very bitter woman. Right this way now, Mr. Mackerel.
Well, see, Mrs. Budgell, it's not a self-contained unit, then.
Oh, no, Mr. Mackerel. You share the entranceway and the hallways with the rest of us. So you'll remember to remove your boots. Some don't.
Mrs. Budgell, if it's not a self-contained unit, I don't want to see it at all, please.
Luce Coslow, 3rd floor.
How do you do, Miss Coslow?
Right this way, Mr. Mackerel. Step lively, Mr. Mackerel.
Frank, where are you? I think it's time we had a man-to-man talk.
You'll notice the new little door I had on Mr. Mackerel fits almost perfectly. Right in this way now, Mr. Mackerel. Here we go.
Oh, God, Mrs. Budgell, this is not what I had in mind
Mr.
at all.
Mackerel, the last 2 tenants I had in here didn't even bother to sweep out the Moldau from underneath the bed. So I just whipped the bed out of her altogether and put the mattress on the floor. I'm sure you'll find it very convenient. Oh, and Mr. Mackerel, here's your half bath.
Mrs. Budgell, there are no taps.
Oh, yes, there are.
Are there?
The other tenant has them.
Well, how does this tenant get water?
Oh, couldn't be easier, Mr. Mackerel. Once for us, twice for coal.
I see. Well, how much is the room?
Apartment.
Apartment?
Yes. $5.75 a month, Mr. Mackerel. Rent included.
Yeah, right. Last fella in this room hung himself.
Right out this way now, Mr. Mackerel. Could we keep it moving, please, Miss Coslow? Right out here.
Well, here we all are.
You met my husband, have you, Mr.
Yes, I have.
Mackerel?
Yes, I have.
Mr. Budgell.
How are you?
Mr. Mackerel.
How do you do, Mr. Budgell?
I'm Mr. Budger.
How do you do?
Mr. Mackerel. Oh, and here's our Nan, our fortuitous.
Hello, Nan. Nan.
How are you?
This is Mr. Mackerel.
Oh,
How do you do? Albert Mackerel.
pleased to meet you, Albert Mackerel.
Pleased to meet you. I see you have your mother with you. That's
Well,
nice.
No,
she's
it's
not my mother.
Nan, it's time for your shift down at the club now, is it?
Oh, yeah, I'm on now.
Good, yeah. We got a small lounge attached to the house down there. Very convenient.
More of a beer parlor, really, Mr. Mackerel.
yes.
Well,
More
nice
of a
to meet
lounge.
you.
Yes,
Exactly like
nice
a
to have
beer
met you,
parlor,
ma'am.
Mr. Budgell.
I hope to
believe
see
it is
you again.
licensed under the Beer Parlor Control Act. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's that noise, Mr. Budgell?
Oh, must be chow time for the prisoners.
Prisoners?
Yeah.
What do you mean prisoners?
Parolees.
Yes.
Parolees, Mr. Mackerel, almost pensioners, really.
Pensioners.
Pensioner prisoners, actually, yes. But don't worry, that whole floor up there is maximum security. We got the high-stress chicken wire sealing off the whole area. Oh, yeah, they won't bother you.
Oh, my God. Mr. Budgell, what's that?
We got a contract for a private prison from the government.
More of a prison detention center, Mr. Mackerel.
Yeah.
Right this way now, Mr. Mackerel, and we'll sign the 5-year. I'm not going to sign anything,
No, Mrs. Budgell, he wants to think about it overnight. You don't want to sleep on a big decision like that, Mr. Mackerel.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Mr. Mackerel? What are you doing?
Your first night is out of the house, Mr. Mackerel. Have a good sleep.
Please, let me out. Please. Please, I have a medical problem. Mr. Budgell, please. Help me. Oh, my God.
I mean, there I was. I was trying to be both mother and father to Amy. I come home in the evening, I say to myself, honey, I'm home, what's for supper? Then I say to myself, where were you? Where were you while I was slaving over a hot stove? Then I'd have to admit to myself that I stopped for a beer on the way home. Then I get vicious with myself, call myself a selfish creep. I say, you were down there having a beer while I was here in this boring house all day. Then I'd slam the door on my own self. And then I'd open the door a crack and say to myself, are you all right? Then I'd make up with myself and then be ever the more sweeter for having fought. Then he came along, right? But let's face it, he comes in handy at the bank. I was broke. I was wearing imitation polyester because I couldn't afford the real thing. I mean, I wasn't getting any help from Amy's father. He thinks that child support is some kind of tiny jockstrap.
Frank Coombs is concerned.
Frank Coombs is concerned about people. Frank Coombs is concerned about the fishery. Frank Coombs is concerned about his hair. Frank Coombs is so concerned, he suffers extreme pain. Vote Frank Coombs, for God's sake.
The foregoing was a paid political broadcast by the committee to re-elect Frank Coombs.
Good evening, and welcome to this, the final episode of the Cynthia-PHEASENT BYINGTON story. Last week, we saw Cynthia warble her way to the top of the operatic heap. Join me now as Cynthia's relationship with her husband, Charles, threatens to destroy her vast achievements.
You'll never understand the woman I am, Charles. Oh, the woman that I so desperately want to be.
What is it, Cynthia, my pet? Is something wrong?
For God's sake, Charles. For God's sake, Charles. Can't you see? Can't you see I'm 36, you're 84?
I didn't know it made a difference. I've always been perfectly happy.
For God's sake, Charles. For God's sake, Charles, I'm sick of this house of death and destruction. Don't I want to live. I want to live. I'm afraid, Charles. I'm afraid there's only one way out.
What's that, my love?
I'm going to have to kill you, Charles.
Cynthia, no.
Yes, Charles. Yes, Charles. Can't you see what I've been doing all these years? I've been waiting. What? Waiting. What? Waiting. What? Waiting. Waiting for you to die, Charles. But you're never going to die, are you? Oh, yes. No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not, Charles.
Oh, yes, I'm
You're going to live forever, Charles.
Yes, I
I can't stand it, Charles. You're driving me mad. Can't you see that? You're driving me... Ow!
You've hurt yourself, darling. You've hurt yourself.
Charles.
Huh?
Charles, Charles,
Huh?
Charles,
Spit it out, dear.
Charles, I can't move my legs.
Can't move your legs?
No.
What's wrong with them? Hopelessly paralyzed.
No.
What's the good of a wife who's hopelessly paralyzed? Even if she is 36 bloody years old.
Charles, what do you mean?
I'm going to have to shoot you, dear.
No, Charles,
like
please.
an old dog.
No, Charles, no, but... Charles, I can move my legs.
Bloody hell.
Charles, I'm paralyzed. I can move my legs. I'm paralyzed. I can move my legs.
Now, with the kind permission of the University of Edinburgh, we're proud to present Professor Andrew Jones of the Scottish Folk Tales.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I guess the story really begins last year when we went back to Glasgow. We go back to Glasgow pretty well every year. And we stayed at a small hotel there, and there was an old chap who used to hang about the bar there, and I was talking to him one morning, and he came in there. He had got a piece of ice in his ear, you know, and I said to him, well, what are you doing with a piece of ice in your ear? And he turns to me. The old chap turns to me. He says, I think I did very good. He says, oh, I did very good. He finds it very simple eating. He thinks it's like a Timorous girl a bit. You stand up stick and never do stand in the way. I thought I'd die. Ah, the wee wit of Scotland. Well, thank you very much. Good night.
Come on, wake up. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2.
Good morning, America. Okay, here we are. And how are you this morning, Kathy?
I'm over here, Brian. Aren't you awake yet, Brian? I've been up for days.
Oh, yeah, I'm awake. I guess they forgot to clean up Mall Night America. So, what have we got on today, Kathy?
Well, Brian, we've got a complete makeover. We've got clips from the Gimme Awards. But first, Brian, it's over to you for the weather.
The weather. Oh, yeah, the weather. It's going to be very bright. Bright. It's going to be very bright.
Thank you for that,
It's
Brian.
blind.
And now, here's our morning news.
No, I'm blind.
What? Oh, we're on the air. I'm very sorry. Guten Abend. I'm Gloria Schnitzer with the cover-up news. It was revealed today that Kurt Waldheim is not a human being. He was, in fact, constructed in a laboratory in 1958. I have no past, said Mr. Waldheim. Therefore, I could not have been involved in Nazi atrocities. More details on that at 11.
Well, we're back. How are you now, Brian?
Oh, I kill for an aspirin. My mouth tasting.
Oh, try my new breath freshener, Brian.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, my God!
That's my takeaway.
Oh, God.
Where is my breath freshener? Well, that's it for AM America today. Tune in tomorrow when we'll be talking to the cast of the Love Boat about world hunger. Those guys have been everywhere.
He tells me I look like Raquel Welch. Only he knows her. And she got dandruff. She wears a flea collar, too. I keeps on fooling around on him, though, because the only exercise I get's outside of baths and cooking. I did do a sit-up there the other day, though. Somebody phoned in the middle. I mean, I don't think I'm meant to be skinny, Andre. When he gives me a razz about my weight, I say, look, go parboil a Barbie doll if that's where you're at. I know what you're thinking. I'm on medication for paranoia. I got cable, you know, Andre. I'm into science and technology, too. I'm a genius. I had a blueprint for a space station on Mars all done up, then the cat peed on it. I love the 80s, though. They're so now, aren't they? I mean, science is going to let me down badly, though, if it don't come up with a heat-sensitive, hormone-sensitive watch with a printout, and it says, you will ovulate in 2 hours. The guy you were looking at has a high sperm count and a history of mental illness. He wears Batman underwear. You'll have a hard time getting him out of your apartment tomorrow morning. Don't sleep with this mental cripple. Something like that. That'd be handy, wouldn't it?
Juanita!
Oh, my God, there's Dexter. Thanks for the dinner, Andre.
My Dinner with Juanita, coming soon.
And now for a personal insult news break. The long-nosed, inbred, horsey-faced royal family of Great Britain today attended the unveiling of a statue commemorating a cigar-chewing, smelly fart of an alcoholic former prime minister. The helmet-headed, beak-nosed, bandy-legged, pigeon-toed current prime minister was also in attendance. More details at 11.
We now join Frank Talk, already in progress.
But just exactly what kind of are you?
Oh, I'm quite an Frank, yeah. I'll turn on my friends for no reason.
Really?
Stab people in the back. And retin on people to the police.
Really? That's incredible.
One of my favorite
That's
tricks.
incredible, Early. You really are an incredible
Thank you. I'm actually quite too, Frank.
Now, I didn't know that. That's incredibly interesting.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about that again, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and a We'll be back in 1 minute.
And as we commit the remains of your servant Fred into the earth, make us, we beseech thee, deeply sensible of the shortness and uncertainty of mouse life, yet grant us steadfastly to believe that this little mouse has been taken into the safekeeping of thine eternal love. Memento rodens pulvus est et ad pulvorum erat. Remember, mouse, that thou art dust, and unto dust thou shalt return.
$45 for a pink marzipan pig? You must be joking, Herr Goebbels. And then the Führer began to laugh and laugh.